Welcome to the Genius Way Show with your host, Ben Hummel. The aim of this show is to provide education, encouragement, and insights for people who are on their own personal development journeys. As a psychotherapist, teacher, author, and creator of the Genius Way process, Ben will focus on identifying common challenges to living a purposeful life, and will share valuable psychological and spiritual tools to help you make healthy and empowering life changes. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey friends, and welcome to the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about risk-taking. And we're not going to be talking about the irresponsible risk-taking and thrill-seeking. We're talking about the idea of what it means to take a risk and what is actually at stake when we do so. So if you're on the personal development path, and I'm sure you are because you're watching this show, personal development means always kind of being faced with something that is about to change your life, or rather, feeling some sense of stagnancy and then doing some kind of action, learning a life skill, or developing a quality where your life is going to be changing, hopefully for the better. And each one of these things involves a risk. Each one of these things involves a choice to do something different so that you can have a different outcome. And along with that is risk, because we don't know whether that gamble is going to pay off. We don't know if our 10-day silent retreat is going to help us to feel more connected to the universe. We don't know if this next course is going to actually help us develop some skills that we really want. We don't know if the next, healthy diet or treatment is going to move us into a state of better health. Each one of these things carries a risk with it, right? And so let me tell you a little quote by a poet named Anais Nin. And you might have heard this quote before, but it goes like this. It's talking about a flower. And it says, "The day came when the risk of remaining tight in a bud became more painful than the risk of blossoming." And so that's a very important kind of idea here, where the risk is not just, if I try this and fail, I'm going to lose something. The risk is also on the other side. The other side is, if I don't do something, I'm going to just stay like I am. So we're either risking something not working out if we try it, or we're risking my future, my better life, my more, enhanced, influenced, beautiful life might not happen if I don't do this. Either I stay in this bud and I'll be taking a risk to blossom, or I take the risk to blossom and I get to, kind of leave that bud life behind. So everything involves a risk. You get up in the morning, you move through your life. You don't know what's going to happen any given day. You have your plans, and as you know, every day something else happens, something you didn't expect, something that, falls apart, or something that shows up that you never could have expected. And each part of moving into our life involves that much of a risk, right? So the risks that I want to talk about today is the risk of not moving into your sacred sense of self, not moving into a deeper connection with existence, and consequently your self-expression, your genius, your way of giving your gifts to the world. So anytime we try to march out on our own and kind of step into our greater passion, our greater energy, our greater expression, we always have to leave something else behind. We have to leave something that has been familiar. We have to leave something that has kind of worked in a certain way. We have to leave something that we know and move into the unknown. And the unknown can be very, very scary. The unknown is, there's no guarantees. But if you look back, there's really no guarantees with the known either, because every day, even the known can change and go away. That person that you counted on for the last 10 years of your life all of a sudden is gone, found somebody else or passed away or who knows what. We don't get to count on anything for very long. And that's just kind of the nature of it. It sounds sad and scary, but it's true. And so as we're developing ourselves and as we're kind of opening up more, as we are being more expressive with ourselves, we always have to leave the comfort of something that's known to go towards something that feels better. Like, for instance, take the example of the bud. We've got a little rose. It's in a bud. It's all tightly wound. And that tightness, even though in the beginning was something beautiful, here's some color now, some soft petals are there, but it's still wound kind of tightly. And after a while, the thing that felt like freedom becomes bondage, because it's not supposed to stay in a bud. It's not supposed to stay wrapped up. It is meant to open up and open up and open up and blossom, right? And so just like it was meant to blossom, it keeps going. After it's meant to blossom, then it's going to be afraid. Oh no, now I've got to drop my petals. Now I've got to drop this, right? And then the petals drop, and guess what? Goes into winter, and then the same thing happens again next year. So just like the flower there, we go through different stages. There are different stages to our lives. And in each stage, we have to actively let go of something in order to get to the other expression, to the other experience. And it's always scary. It's always scary to think about, well, I've got to leave something that I know to move into something else that I don't know, but I'm hoping and I'm guessing that that risk is going to pay off and it's going to do something for me and make my life better and make my life more beautiful in some way. So I want you to think about this in terms of choice. So we can't help but make a choice. Choice is the way things are. Like, for instance, every day you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you do your thing, you go to work, whatever you do. Every step along the way, you're choosing and choosing and choosing. Like, just to get up, you didn't have to get up. You could lay in bed all day, but you chose to get up. You didn't have to brush your teeth, but you did. So you chose to brush your teeth. You didn't have to eat a croissant for breakfast. You could have had a banana, but you ate a croissant. All day long, we're making these choices. We have no choice but to choose. And we can also choose not to change. We can also choose to stay in the bud. We can also choose not to blossom. Okay? And it doesn't always feel like that. It doesn't always feel like, well, I feel like there's some blossoming that's going to happen. I feel like my life could unfold, but I'm choosing not to. It's not that obvious. What it looks like is I'm choosing not to take a risk. I'm choosing not to take a chance, right? And when you choose not to take a chance, you stay the same and the world marches on without you. Your life, your possibility, your genius, your self-expression, the potential of all that kind of just stays tightly wound in a bud, and nothing else much happens. And you can feel it. You can feel when you're choosing not to choose, when you're choosing not to risk. Okay? So just like we have to choose, even if we're choosing not to choose, we risk every day too, or not. The choice and the risk go hand in hand. Without a choice, we couldn't take a risk. Okay? And the risk goes both ways. If I'm choosing not to choose, I'm choosing not to risk, and so I don't go anywhere. I don't have any possibility of anything changing. If I choose to take a risk, Suddenly the whole world opens up and new possibilities appear where there were none before, right? So we don't know what's going to happen from day to day. We have no idea. We can't know. But what we can do is realize that nobody's getting out of here alive. Every life ends in physical death, every single one. And since you know it's coming, it seems to me that this life with its choices kind of inherently has the idea of, hey, you're here to develop in some way. You're here to continue to grow and fill out your potential, to step into your life in a very, very deep and meaningful way. And your life, you get another day to choose and risk stepping into a deeper sense of self. Because, we're not finished products. We need the ability to choose and to risk to further the experience of who we are, to further our sense of self, to deepen our awareness of our connection with the universe and existence, and to also, we need that risk to open up and be able to find what gifts we brought into this world to share with others. So let's go further into this idea. I want you to take a look at this little video here about this topic. And when we, on the other side of that, we'll come back and we'll dig into this situation further. Okay, I'll see you on the other side.
Have you ever wondered why the mighty oak tree, towering in the forest, exists? It began as a tiny acorn, faced with the risk of being trampled or eaten, yet it dared to grow. It took the chance, plunged its roots into the ground, and reached for the sky. That is the power of risk and growth. Consider the story of a young woman named Jessica. Born and raised in a small rural town, she had always dreamed of becoming a professional dancer. Despite her family's insistence on pursuing a more stable career, Jessica took the leap and moved to the big city to chase her dream. She auditioned for dance companies, faced rejection after rejection, but she persisted. And one day she finally got her break. Today, Jessica is a celebrated professional dancer, and her performances inspire many. She took a risk, and it led to her growth. Now, think about the journey of a tech entrepreneur, Robert. He was a software engineer, comfortably earning a decent salary. But Robert had a vision. He wanted to create a tech startup that would revolutionize the industry. He quit his job, invested his savings, and started working on his dream. People called him crazy, but Robert was undeterred. After years of hard work, his startup became a billion-dollar company. Robert's story is a testament to the power of taking risks and embracing growth. From the pages of history, remember Amelia Earhart, the aviation pioneer. She dared to fly solo across the Atlantic when many thought it was impossible. She risked her life for the growth of aviation and to prove that women could conquer the skies too. Her courage and determination continue to inspire us today. As we reflect on these stories, several key points emerge about risk and growth. 1. Growth often requires stepping out of comfort zones. Like Jessica, who left her small town to pursue her dream in the big city, we must be willing to venture into the unknown. 1. Risks can lead to unexpected opportunities. Robert took a risk by quitting his stable job to start a tech company, which eventually led to great success. Risk-taking is not about being reckless, but about calculated decisions. Amelia Earhart didn't just decide to fly across the Atlantic on a whim. She prepared, trained, and planned for it. 1. Finally, growth is a continuous process. It doesn't stop with achieving one goal. Like the mighty oak tree that keeps growing year after year, we too must continue to grow, taking new risks and embracing new opportunities. So, next time you find yourself at a crossroads, remember the acorn that dared to become an oak tree, the dancer who dared to follow her dream, the tech entrepreneur who dared to revolutionize an industry, and the aviator who dared to fly solo across the Atlantic. Embrace the risk, for it is the path to growth.
And we're back. And, let's go a little bit deeper into this, this idea of taking a risk and the idea of choice, risk, and what happens whether you take a risk or choose not to take a risk. So I want to read you another quote. This is by Carl Jung. And this one's getting a little bit deeper, and this is something else that's kind of more. All right, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. So I'd like to get a little bit deeper into this idea of taking risk and choosing to take a risk or not, and what that means, how it plays into our daily lives. And by that, I want to read another quote by Carl Jung, and this is a little bit more intense of a quote. Let's see how you feel about this. So Jung says, "Only boldness can deliver from fear. And if the risk is not taken, the meaning of life is somehow violated, and the whole future is condemned to hopeless staleness." So, youch. Whoa, Carl, calm down. That's very confronting. He's like, man, if you don't take a risk, if you don't step out, your life is condemned to staleness, and the meaning of life is actually violated. So that's pretty intense, okay? So, but I kind of relate to that, because all my work with the Genius Way is about getting your gifts out, bringing your talents out, bringing your beautiful self-expression that is unique to you, getting it out and see what's there for you. See what kind of, clientele you can touch, to see what kind of people are in your life that will benefit from you being more of yourself. And so when we look at it that way, where we have a mandate here, every single person has a mandate to be more and more and more of themselves. And if that mandate isn't reached, like Jung was saying, it's a violation of life's meaning, meaning you didn't do what you came here to do. Somehow along the way, you kind of hung on to the fear of opening up, the fear of coming out into a blossom, and you kind of clung to the first iteration of your life, which was like a bud. Any flower can do that. It's like, well, here I am, and it's wrapped really tightly. In order to let go of that, in order to do the next thing, it's got to let go of who it thinks it is at the time. And that's the risk. That's the risk. Am I actually going to be something else when I let go of this first idea of who I am? And then on and on and on and on that goes. So I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of individuation. It's a Jungian term where it is basically you grow away from the role you played in your family of origin. So let's say there's 5 of you in that family of origin. One is the protagonist, one is the enabler, one is the clown who's keeping everything, funny. The other one is the peacemaker. The roles are kind of just given out, and it's not really who we are. We're kind of just stuck with that role. As we grow, as we become individuals, as we become more of who we are, the individuation process happens where we actually start to live the way that we live as the individual, not by whatever role we were given in our family of origin or however you grew up. Right? So the key here is, taking that risk to be yourself means you're going to have to let go of that role that you played in your family. That role was just kind of thrust upon you. That's not who you are. It's not what you were born with. It kind of happened because of the other players, the supporting actors in your scene there, in your sitcom of a family. Okay? So the idea of individuation, the idea of becoming more of who we authentically are without all the influences, the thing that we are meant to kind of bring out, that is what happens when you take a risk. You take a risk to step into something that you sense is there, but there's no concrete evidence of it right in the moment. And that's what the risk part is. And so when you mingle your power of choice with the idea of taking a risk, when you're choosing to step out of some place that has become stagnant for you, and you recognize that message. Stagnancy is a message that you're still a bud and you need to blossom. Okay? If you had no other thing to express, if you had no other gifts to give, if you had no further way or path along which to develop, you being stuck would be just fine. You'd be happy being stuck. You'd be happy with the same thing every day. You'd be happy with whatever you have and want nothing else. But if there's more to your life, if in fact you have gifts that you've been born with that you haven't given, if you have talents and skills that when you express them will benefit others and they haven't been brought out yet, your stagnancy is telling you this is not the place for you to be. You're holding on to that little bud when it's time to blossom in some way. And that blossoming always involves taking a risk. It always involves letting go of something that's known and stepping into the unknown with a hunch. A hunch. Okay? That hunch there is what makes the difference. Following that hunch, following that feeling of, wait a minute, my life is probably more than this, and I'm settling for a lot less than what I really am. I'm settling for a lot less than what my life can be. And, if you take a risk and nothing happens, you will be happy knowing that you followed that hunch of what you were feeling and went for it. And now you know, okay, I thought I was going to go down that hall and through that door and I'm going to find something amazing. And if you go there and there's just a brick wall, okay. But what happened is, don't forget, you followed your heart. You followed your feeling of what was to come. You followed that aspect of yourself that is trying to move forward and stretch into a fuller sense of self, fuller iteration of who you are. Okay? So again, I said before, we're not finished products. We're works in progress. And works in progress means, you've got to keep going to actually become more of who you are in potential. That's the interesting thing that I see that's different from humans and animals. An animal kind of like steps into who they are. A cat is a cat, a dog is a dog, and they're not bashful about showing you who they are and all of their instinct and all of their DNA is just kind of out there. For humans, though, not so much. We have to work somehow to become who we are. We're not encouraged in our early life to be ourselves, our genuine selves. We're encouraged to kind of fit into a structure, a mold, a society, a family, a religion. We're encouraged to be part of something. And meanwhile, if that's all we do and we don't dig in for some genuine, organic identity by taking risks to find out who we are, we stay kind of stuck in that form. So anyway, this is an important aspect. If you're going to be building a personal development path, if you're going to be kind of continuing on your path, learning to take risks in a very healthy way is essential. It's essential. Again, I want to remind you, I'm not saying go spend all your money and sell your house and move to Tibet and everything. If you want to do that, fine, but that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is the risk to let go of what you know about yourself for the sake of something that you're feeling just outside your reach that might be bigger, better, deeper, more complex, more awake, more aware. Okay? Even if you don't know what that is, let's say you go to the grocery store, you see a flyer about a workshop. You're like, whoa, that's speaking to me. That's something I want. I want to do that. You need to take a risk and do it. You need to take a shot. You're going to learn something, and you'll get used to trusting more and more and more your hunches, your intuitions about what's important for you and what you're here for, how to take a risk, how to move into your possibility, and with a lot more ease and grace and trust. All right, so we're going to take a short commercial break. And after the commercial, I'm going to guide you in a guided visualization about taking risks. So I will see you on the other side.
Ben Hummel's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
Close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and then deeply exhale. Imagine that you're in a library. The walls are lined with stacks and stacks of books of all kinds, and there's a respectful quietness permeating the large, softly lit room. See yourself walking down a particular aisle, and as you look to your right, a certain book catches your eye, because it has your name as the first line of the title. After your name, it reads, A Life of Potential. As you pull this book from the shelf, you see that there's a bookmark. You open the book at the bookmark and see that it describes your life up until this present moment. Everything on the previous pages has already happened. You notice that a part of you wants to look ahead to the next part of the book. There are some dreams that you currently have, and you're wondering if they happen or not. Describe how this part of you feels about what may happen next in the book of your potential. What do you imagine is written there? And now you become aware of another part of yourself that's fearful of what you'll find. This part doubts that your dreams can manifest and that your best days are behind you. How does it feel to identify with this fearful part of yourself? What does this part imagine is written next in the book of your potential? Now, as you're contemplating your choice, the book slips from your hands and lands on the floor, open to the next page. It reads, You Take a Risk. Now find something in your current life situation that you've been reluctant to take a risk on. What is this thing? And how does it feel to know that your book says that you take a risk on it? See yourself making the choice and risking your current situation for a new one. What happens? And now you realize that by making the choice to risk something known for your greater potential, your life is enriched and enlivened. And with this experience fully intact in your awareness, and when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this room. Yeah, so how was that guided visualization for you? Were you able to kind of use it to walk through something that you already know you're ready to do, but you've been kind of putting off until a day when things are way more appropriate or acceptable or, auspicious? That day is today. So I want to read another quote for you. I love reading these quotes about risk, and I found a really good one. So listen to this one by Mark Twain. It says, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade wind in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. So what's really good about that, out of all the things that were in that last quote, one of the things that is really important to know is that, if you haven't noticed, time is going by. Time is going by. I still marvel at looking at my face in the mirror and seeing all these wrinkles and this kind of saggy face and this white hair. I'm like, what happened? How did this happen so fast? This is crazy. And, none of us are here for that long. And time is going by, and there are still things to do. There are aspects of yourself that you haven't brought out. There are parts of yourself and of the world that you haven't explored. There are things that you want to do and that you have within you to do that haven't been done yet. And all the while, time is going by. Time is going by. Time is going by. And so it's a natural urge, a natural kind of reminder to take those risks, take those small risks every day to come closer and closer and closer into developing more of who you are, becoming more yourself so that the world can benefit from that. And again, you're not the savior. At least I don't think you are, okay? But if you can save yourself by taking a risk, your individual identity in this life, in this world, when you are authentic, it matters to the people around you that you'll come in contact with. Your life, you want your life to be a blessing to the people and the things that you come in contact with. You want to walk into a room and have the room be uplifted by your presence because you are more and more and more in touch with your authentic self than ever before, right? Again, this doesn't mean you're special, other than, basically we're all special. All of us are special, but we're special in the way that we are unique in terms of who we are from the universe. And all we have to do is be ourselves, whatever level of self you can get to through your practice, your authentic self. That is the thing that will heal the world. It's the thing that will heal everything. When people step out of The fear-based self, where I kind of just hold on to who I am and what I've got so far, take risks to become more of what you already are. I know it sounds like a weird, woo-woo paradoxy thing, but it's true. We all have potential that we haven't lived into yet. When that potential is over, we'll no longer be here. Okay? While we're here, we have the chance to take that risk, take that step, and become a little more deeply who we already are, who we are in potential. Okay? So all this risk-taking that I'm talking about is not foolhardy. It's the risk of being more yourself. Okay? That's the import of the class today, of this life skill, taking a risk, using your choice to take a risk. Okay, we're going to have a little commercial break, and I'll come back with a send-off inspiration for you to take you on your way until we meet again.
Hi there, I'm Dan Hafner. I'm the host of the show Tech Bites with Dan Hafner. Join me live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Achieve TV network for the latest technology and business news and advice. Join me right here on E360 TV.
If we have the desire for personal growth and development in our lives, it becomes a necessity to develop a healthy relationship with risk. Every moment that passes contains an opportunity to either remain static or stagnant, or to move and flow with the next opportunity that life presents to us. Choosing to take a risk when it comes to living into our highest potential is always a good idea, even when it feels scary or when the outcome is uncertain. So taking healthy risks allows us to learn to trust intuition and deeper perceptions and rely on our inner guidance. We have no guarantee of tomorrow. Take a risk to live and love more deeply today. And that's our show. I'm so happy to have spent this time with you. I'm glad you showed up. I hope you got something really valuable to take with you into your personal life and share it with others. And until we see each other again, I want to invite you to stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember that your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummel on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel.